I love you. Welcome back to the Couch Potatoes, to an episode of Marvel Playlist.
Yes.
Where we talk about a very racist episode, in my opinion, because when somebody gets mad, they become green. And I'm the Green Traveler from Gorsh. I don't like that.
And you know what?
I don't like that.
In solidarity and because I feel like the message is very similar for faceless individuals, I will stand next to you and agree that this is just a load of crap. And I am the Faceless Leo.
Yep.
And this is Green and Faceless on the Couch, a podcast about movies and TV. The record was skipping, sorry. Like you said, it's the Marvel Playlist, and we're talking about the Hulk. Actually, this movie is just called Hulk.
Indeed.
There's no article.
It's just called Hulk.
It's just called Hulk. This is a masterpiece.
I didn't write down which number of episode this is.
By Ang Lee, who we've talked about several times this month.
Yeah, it's been a very Ang Lee strong month.
It sure has.
This is our third Ang Lee episode and our 7th Marvel episode, if my numbering scheme is correct. Maybe I'm forgetting one here somewhere. But
wow. Okay, I don't know. I lost track. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it's either 7 or 8.
So this is another one that they give credit to Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, I guess, for the creation.
Yeah.
It's basically a comic book version of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And
what?
I don't know that there is a direct correlation. There's like big brute characters, like a lot of them in the Marvel universe, in the DC universe, that is.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a lot. Like, Solomon Grundy, what's his name? Homo
Clayface.
Hyperion, whatever. The big ape guy with the brain.
Solivar? General Grodd?
No. There's a guy's like, I don't remember. Oh, shit. Maybe he's an older character.
I said Homo Apien.
I think it might be Homo Hyperion.
I like that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. There is a Hyperion guy, and he wears the toxic hazardous waste symbol.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
But that's not who we're looking for. Okay.
Oh, well.
Apes in DC.
Oh, no, you're doubling down. You gotta find it. Apes in DC? I mean, I'll just name 2 of them. The big ones you're gonna find. Solivar and Detective Chimp. General Grodd. What was his name? Sorry, you broke up.
I haven't found it yet.
Oh.
Oh,
I just named the top 3.
It might be Solivar, but they kept on calling him a different name. Oh, wait. Yeah! Ultra Humanite. That's who I was talking about. Yeah.
Oh, I understand what you mean by big brain. Yeah.
He is a human brain in the body of a mutant albino ape. Yes.
Something's wrong there. There's a lot wrong with this movie, though. Let's jump
into this.
Buckle down.
Movie.
Hulk, just known as Hulk by Ang Lee. My introduction to this film is actually very hilarious. I was 10 years old in human years when this movie came out. I was very into books, very into reading, and not as much into movies. I still love movies, watched them a lot with my family and everything. It was always a great time. But I was in Walmart and I saw a book on the shelf by Peter David, who is, in my adult life, I have found out is a huge comic book writer. In fact, he wrote a lot of the Incredible Hulk line, like for 12 years or whatever. He was on that title. But yeah, he wrote the novelization version of this movie. And that was my first introduction to this movie, was buying that and reading it in a couple of days. And it was very cool. I was like, oh, I love this Hulk guy. He sounds really awesome and everything. And it's like, it was a book, not a comic book. It was just a regular book.
Right.
And then I saw the movie, and I think as a kid I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think I don't remember.
I didn't remember anything about it
as a child as well. I think that I thought, I didn't know very much about the Hulk besides you wouldn't like me when I'm angry, Like there was occasionally the Hulk television show, the cartoon that like ran in similar time as the Spider-Man cartoon, and there was also an Iron Man cartoon at that time too.
I watched those two. I did not watch the Hulk cartoon.
I only saw it a couple of times. It did not run very often, and I don't think it ran for very long when it actually aired. But anyhow,
see, my dad had I didn't really either. I know my dad had the Lou Ferrigno. He was the guy who played the Hulk.
He played the
80s
Hulk
or whatever, right?
in the television, but not Bruce Banner.
And like the live action version.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember we had that show on in the background. It wasn't in the background for my dad. I think he was actually watching it, but it was in the background for my childhood. Because I remember seeing, especially the intro where he's walking down the street, hitchhiking with his thumb out and everything. Yeah. And the Hulk theme song going on. I remember that pretty well. I don't remember any of the episodes. But that's pretty much all I knew about the Hulk, was like he was just a character in the background of my mind as a kid. Because again, I watched the Spider-Man and the Iron Man show, the animated shows, but I never watched the Hulk. I think once the Hulk came on, I just turned it to another channel or something. I don't know. I don't remember him at all.
So
it was kind of fun returning to this movie, and in like certain aspects of the plot when they were happening, I was just like, oh, I remember this in the book. I don't remember this in the movie. Like, I know I watched this movie, but like I was just remembering the book because Peter David's a good writer. Like, he really just is.
So maybe that book is much better than the film that it's based off of. So
I would believe so.
In this movie, we do get to see Lou Ferrigno as well as Stan Lee.
That's right.
And they're both playing security guards. Is it the same scene? Because I actually wasn't looking.
It is, yeah. They're walking away.
Okay, I just heard Stan Lee's voice, and I was like, there's the Stan Lee cameo. They gave him a couple of lines in this one.
Yeah, they're walking away from a building. I don't remember which building it is, but they're both security guards, and it seems like Stan Lee is like training Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah,
and it's kind of funny because like it's just such a throwaway moment. I mean that's what a cameo is for, right? So it's like it really works, but it was just so funny because I was just watching it and they're walking away, and I was like, huh. Oh yeah, that is Stan Lee. And I was like, oh, that's Lou Ferrigno. I was just like, it was so stupid. It just took my brain so long to process it. It was like they were off screen before I remembered or realized that it was the big cameo.
I really kind of thought that they got Lou Ferrigno to voice some lines, because when Hulk says puny human at one point, I was like, was that Lou Ferrigno?
Well, do you want to know who actually did the voice for the Hulk?
Who?
Ang Lee.
Really?
Yeah. It says here that he did motion cap and voice for the Hulk.
Wow. Well, I guess hilarious. He knew how he wanted it to move. And honestly, the Hulk's movements aren't bad. It's just the animation. It's not the greatest.
Oh, it's very dated. It's so dated.
Yes.
Like the Hulk does look okay.
Yeah.
Like, I guess. Like, you can definitely see that it's all CGI, and it's not at all the quality we have now.
Remember Freedom Hulk jumping through the desert? The wind.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was good. I do enjoy that moment. There's some like decent parts, but for the most part, it's all just like dated and crappy CGI that made me laugh.
Yeah, definitely. So let me go ahead and do the story.
Please.
And you can interject when you wish. So, Bruce Banner, orphan, as far as he knows, and he wants to be a scientist, and he has recently broken up with his lab partner, also a scientist, Betty Ross. Bruce Banner is played by Eric Bana in this incarnation. And Betty Ross is played by Jennifer Connelly, who is the young woman in Labyrinth, if you didn't know.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
So they are working in genetics, and, I don't think it's incredibly explained what they're trying to do. It's more explained what Bruce Banner's father was doing, and that would be David Banner. The young David Banner is played by Paul Kersey, and he is trying to work out immortality. Like he is working with starfish, who he basically they can just regenerate forever, pretty much, and until they die. Why they die, we don't know.
And many starfish were harmed in the making of this movie's introduction.
Actual starfish? I don't know. There wasn't a tag at the end of the movie. There is definitely a lot of depiction of animal testing, though. He tries his formula back in the 70s on some rats and and toads, and we watch them explode and shit, and it's like fucked up. And yeah. And
then later we get the Hulk dogs.
Yeah, the Hulk dogs. Yeah, because Bruce Banner accidentally perfects David's serum, and later David is portrayed by Nick Nolte.
He is indeed.
He is indeed. And
it's an interesting performance.
Yes, I think Nick Nolte is a very talented person. He has a lot of problems, obviously. He, especially with addiction and whatnot. So he, though, really, I feel like always puts his whole self into his acting. He's just a crazy guy, though. I don't know what to say.
I think he held it very well in the first two acts of his character in this movie, but then in the final act when they just tack on this finale, which is kind of very weird and really just shoehorned. They'd already finished the movie 10 minutes before, and then they're just oh no, we need one more final act, one more final fight, more action. And so they tacked on this ridiculous fight between the Banners, between father and son.
Yeah,
because they make it
spoilers,
into a
Nick Nolte gets some strange powers. His aren't as stable as Bruce's. Bruce is pretty,
No.
His is the racist trope of turning green when you're angry.
I read that they basically used a bunch of characters from the comics, but mainly the Absorbing Man was his inspiration.
I see, but not Dave Banner's father. I mean Bruce Banner's father. I don't know if they ever mentioned Bruce Banner's father in the comics. I have no idea.
Probably. I mean, I'm sure somebody has. But yeah, I guess they used that, and I'm reading here Zax, and that's 3 Z's, an A, and an X, which is what the Absorbing Man in this movie, David Banner, basically becomes at the end, which is just a giant tower of electricity.
Right.
Which I guess is Zax. Okay. So they just combined a bunch of different comic book characters to make this movie hero of theirs. And it's just... it's Nick Nolte as David Banner is fine until that final act when he gets these like weird ass powers and then just becomes like a raving lunatic.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I don't care. I don't
yeah,
care where this movie's going. I haven't cared.
The stability of his powers, his abilities with his personality. I think.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I think to an extent can work, but it was pretty far out there. I mean, the character in general is just pretty far out there. The concept.
He really is.
So, yeah. Anyhow, something that his father did to himself affected Bruce when he was born. Then, when Bruce and Betty are working with gamma radiation, an accident happens, and to save one of his co-workers, who I don't recall, I believe it's Harper, played by Kevin Rankin, he jumps in front of the generator or whatever it is and takes a gigantic dose of gamma radiation, and that's kind of what triggers his ability to turn into the Hulk. And we say ability, it's not quite in his control. It's basically based solely on his emotions. So then we get Sam Elliott involved, who is Betty Ross's dad, Thunderbolt Ross. He's a general in the army. And he is like, all right, we got to stop this big green honking hunk. And he can't. There's nothing they could do, like, does anything. And he's destroying cities and, national parks and all sorts of shit. We also have Talbot, played by Josh Lucas. He's like, he's interested in being with Betty Ross, but really he wants to force himself into the possession of Banner and Ross's research. Because basically they're trying to make immortality, I guess. And he's like, you guys are getting close. I want this, think of the military applications. And they're like, no, we're scientists. And that very classic trophy argument. So he's an asshole and eventually does a big, huge sadist scene where he's torturing Bruce, trying to make him turn. And, it's pretty fucked. I'm kind of glad they got Hulk smashed.
I agree. I mean, he really was just asking for it throughout that whole scene, too.
Yeah, 100%. I think we got to talk about the transitions. Oh, you go ahead. Whatever you want to say.
No, I think that's actually perfect because there was nothing really left other than the technical aspects of this film, which we already complained about the CGI. We won't go any further on that.
Yeah, I don't think that's really can be helped. I think, honestly, for the time, it was fairly clean. Like, there wasn't, like, moments where there was, like, clipping or anything like that, or, like, big pixels missing or something. Like in that second, Transformers movie where you couldn't tell what the fuck was going on. I mean, it's not that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was their fault on making the Transformers all look the same.
They're all gray.
All, like, colorless.
Yeah. They're all gray and all look the same. Yeah, that was fucked. We'll talk about this.
It's the same thing nowadays with the first Black Panther movie, where you have Killmonger and Black Panther fighting together at the end.
Gave him the same costume.
The only difference is one's... Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, at the very end, it's like, one's like purple and one's like, kind of yellow striped.
Goldish, like, and bronzy color with like a fur pattern. And it's cool, but it wasn't different. It is cool.
Yeah, and it would have been perfect if, like, I don't know, it wasn't happening in a darkly lit area the entire fucking time. Yeah. So it's like, I still love that movie and that scene. Like, there was some good stuff in that Black Panther scene, but it's just like, when you do that with your CGI, it makes it really fucking hard to make things stand out. Yeah. And, I guess that doesn't happen with with Hulk. I gotta remember it's just called Hulk. But at the same time, it's like again, it's just dated CGI. It's just slightly old. But the transitions, they do this like cross paneling during scenes. So like Ang Lee wanted to make it seem like a comic
booky.
So they'll have
and I thought like maybe that could work, but
it could have worked. Yeah. It really could have worked, but
I just think it
did not look good.
It was it was every frame
I don't know,
almost.
It felt too flashy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they had like diluted the color and made it even more comic booky and then like done freeze frames or something, like, kind of like a spy movie or something, where it's like you have all these moving parts and then like one of the parts will just be like a freeze frame while action's happening here and it's like guiding your eye. Maybe that would have worked. But they had everything moving at once and then did these multi-panels across the screen, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch any of this. I don't know what's, I don't care.
Right.
They didn't guide your eye.
It was, it was too much. And like it almost seemed like it was revolving too much. It was like, hey, look, I made a 3D comic book. And it's like, I didn't like it when Prezi did it. Okay. And that I feel like that is the most confusing way to do a presentation ever. So
yeah, it really is. It really is. What else is there? I'm sure there's something else.
I'm sure there is, but really there wasn't very much depth to this movie. I would say, I feel like Ang Lee was really trying to go for like the monster within kind of thing, and if anybody does have a character arc, it is Bruce Banner, but it's too subtle. Like Eric Bana is playing a near emotionless character. That was what was wrong with him and Betty Ross's relationship. And he just, by the end of it, it's saying that he is letting his emotions out by becoming the Hulk. And he lets Betty maybe hold him once, I think. But he's still fairly emotionless at the end, until he smiles and speaks Spanish at those guys in South America, which is why I argue that this is the movie that the Edward Norton movie is a sequel to this movie. That's my argument.
I mean, you can make that argument. They have denied it. The producers, at least, like Kevin Feige. Right. This film is not canon, I don't think, in the cinematic universe.
No.
But I could accept your argument. I mean, they completely changed the origin for Edward Norton.
They do. But he is in South America. He is in South America in the beginning of the movie.
That's true.
And also, he has already had an encounter with Sam Elliott. Thunderbolt Ross.
That's true. It's true. I will not fight back against your proposal. That is
all right. Thank you.
It's sound.
Thank you. We'll get there when we finally get to the MCU. But yeah, let's do our closing statements.
I don't really like it that much. It gets 2 stars. I honestly, when you were talking about the ending, how he was in South America and everything, I actually fell asleep during the very final fight between father and son, the epic moment this film has been building towards. Once it happened, it just clicked in my brain. I was like, oh, right, this movie's not over yet. There is this. And then the fight started happening. Nick Nolte lost his shit when Eric Bana or Bruce Banner was tied up,
right?
And Nick Nolte's just walking around in front of him, ranting and yelling. And I was like, "Yep, I remember everything that's about to happen." And then the fight started, and I fell asleep.
He bites the electrical cable. You missed that?
Yeah.
It's
No. I saw that. I saw him become Zax, that towering electrical conduit. But I mean, when they started fighting, I was so bored. And I just I did like a quick, 5-minute nap and woke up with the credits rolling. I was like, yeah, that's good. That's good. And I didn't rewind. I just turned it off. I was like, yep, that's fine.
Nick Nolte, man.
I will say that the psychological aspect, the monster within, I did like that aspect stuff. There's a scene where Eric Bana is having like a nightmare and he's in the bathroom and he's got a really foggy mirror and he he swipes the mirror and you see the Hulk, swiping it with one giant finger. That's good stuff.
I loved that.
Yeah. Well, it's like that's the good stuff. I really liked that scene. I wish if they had gone more into the psychology of it, because that would have been really cool. Make it a dark,
could have been cool.
Like kind of almost a horror psychological thriller thing.
Like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. They could, didn't really play with that enough, I feel like. And that is very clearly what this whole story started off with. Yeah. So I think I give it a half a face. It's not a very good movie. I'm sorry, Ang Lee. I think there was a lot of things that you tried that could have worked, and that just didn't quite get there. So I respect your choices. It's just not a very good movie, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But Nick Nolte was a good choice for your made-up character. I do enjoy him.
I wonder if Brian... Oh, okay. He's called David Banner in this, but in the comics, he's Brian Banner.
Oh.
He was an abusive father. So I don't know why they changed him from Brian to David.
Huh. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. I guess it all depends when Brian was introduced.
Yeah.
But also, maybe they thought 2B names, same
1982.
Family. That's silly. But at the same time, my
people are getting confused.
Has 4 siblings in her family that are all J names. So there you go.
Yeah. And alliterations are good. You know? Brian Banner, Bruce Banner, Peter Parker. That's good stuff.
That is good stuff. Omaha.
You want that rhythm.
Omahas. That's a new character I just made up. Omaha Omahas.
Omaha Omahas.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my, I'm an ass.
Oh my!
This is what playing D&D with us is like. Blake comes up with character names, and then I find a way to butcher them.
Yeah, that's
that
sure.
Has been the show.
That's the show. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed it. And it's probably you could start off with the Ed Norton movie if you want to watch more Hulk stuff. But honestly, probably go watch the Lou Ferrigno show. That was supposedly good.
There's some fun effects in that one. I love the makeup and the costume design of the Hulk. I mean,
I've never really watched it, so I'm sure. I mean,
it's just Lou Ferrigno painted green with a ridiculous wig.
Yeah. Well, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So I think that has been the show.
It's beautiful. Yes, and this is also the end of the Marvel playlist for now.
Oh, it is.
I guess usually we do a best and worst thing of it, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
What's on the list?
We will be coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe later down the line. Yeah.
Right.
But oh crap, man! I don't even have the list pulled up in front of me here.
I bet. I bet I could get it real quick. Just a moment. I'll just pull up our Podbean.
Just hang in there, everybody. Hang in there, okay?
Just hang in there. We got this.
We'll figure it out.
Just gotta open up the podcast dashboard and get to the episode list because my memory's not so good anymore, okay?
We're gonna be
okay.
We're getting old.
Should I try to do this next part as Nick Nolte?
Yeah, if you think you can.
I was doing it in the car the other day.
Oh my.
First we got Blade. No. Howard the Duck, Blade.
Yeah, can't forget Howard.
X-Men, Blade 2, a Spider-Man, Daredevil. It was much better in the car last night. And X2 and Hulk. I think I got my choices.
Yeah. Worst would definitely be Hulk, I would say. Or Howard the Duck. I always forget Howard the Duck was in there. You actually mentioned, I forgot, you actually mentioned Howard the Duck at the very start, and I had forgotten already that was part of this playlist. So it's Howard the Duck. That is the worst. You can say Hulk.
No.
That is fair. It was awful. Howard the Duck is awful.
I think it's Hulk. It was really bad. It is, but I think that the stuff that is funny and good about it is better than the stuff that is good about Hulk, because I don't know, there's just not that
Hulk
much.
Hulk doesn't do as many bad things to women as Howard the Duck does.
Okay, I won't argue. Okay, I think we both have merit. I'm choosing what's the worst. I'm not going to say Howard the Duck is the best, because it's absolutely not. It's a trash movie. I just love it. So I think my best out of this group is probably X2. I honestly don't think that... Oh, no, Spider-Man. It's probably Spider-Man. Spider-Man's better.
Yeah, I was really flopping between Spider-Man and X2, and I do think it's Spider-Man. I think I have the most fun Spider-Man. Coming back to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also just a much cleaner movie, not in like family friendliness, but in the like story blocking, and that is mostly because there's too many characters in the X-Men.
That's fair.
But I feel like X2 would have been better in the director's cut, and I think I did have an extended version at some point, but maybe not.
Maybe.
Anywho, I think we actually did the show this time.
Yeah, that's the end of Marvel Part 1. We'll be coming at you next or 2 weeks from now, and 2 Mondays. Okay. We're taking next Monday off, I think.
Taking a little break.
That's right, as we do at the end of the month. And we'll be coming back to you with the Timothy Dalton James Bond films, so look forward to that.
But anyhow, once again, that's our show.
Indeed. Thank you for showing up. Always love to have you here at the couch. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon, the stretchiest experiment on Earth. Safe travels, and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.